Keir Starmer, in his victory speech, which he gave in the Turbine Hall of Tate Modern, which seemed kind of appropriate given the general levels of confusion around. Basically, it's a building where people go to stare at things on walls in a state of absolute bafflement, wondering what on earth does it all mean. So that seemed kind of appropriate. But he said election victories don't fall from the sky. And, you know, that is true. And Labour lost last time, albeit they lost with almost the same proportion of the vote and more actual votes than they won with this time. But in terms of election victories not falling from the sky, I think it did help Labour that, you know, to extend that analogy, the Conservatives were basically sitting in the election victory hot air balloon, catapulting narwhals upwards through the canopy of that balloon. So they were helped by that, but still, you know, as you say, you know, expectation management has been extremely successful for Labour because no one expects a huge amount. So basic competence will seem like what Boris Johnson would have called sunlit uplands. I mean, Labour was boosted, Mark, just before the election by the Sun newspaper, which has traditionally not been a Labour supporting paper. It sort of half-heartedly endorsing it, albeit this was a day before the election when all the polls were saying that the Conservatives had no chance. It was basically like backing the USA in the space race, just as Neil Armstrong was clearing his throat and about to step on, basically to say, "You snooze, you lose, Buzzles. I'm going to be first." And the sort of desperation in the Tories campaign was shown when Sunak, and one of the last things he did as Prime Minister, he went on the, I think it was the ITV This Morning programme, and announced to the nation that he really likes sandwiches. Whilst being in a studio with a woman claiming to be Britain's most tattooed mum. And
that picture went round. Oh, I wondered why. I thought she was the candidate for Kidderminster.
I might have done better for the Tories. But that did. That's not the most dignified moment in prime ministerial history.
Well, the thing is, in a way, there's not really anything he could have done, because I often think it's being like, we've all been in them situations if we're stand-ups where it's just not working. The audience has decided long ago they don't like you. They've then gone past that and decided they're not even interested in whether to work out why they don't like you, and they're all chatting, and you're up there and and no one's paying any attention. And occasionally someone turns around and goes, "Oh, shut up, mate, will you?" And there's nothing you could do. You could come out with the funniest thing in the world. I told you, mate, we're talking here, right? And there's nothing. And I think Rishi Sunak was in that situation about a year ago. So there wasn't really anything he could do. And then everything that he does, people just go, "What now?" Whereas I can imagine, you know, some of the Obama doing a sort of silly little stunt. People liked him. And so that looked like him being cool. Whereas with him, it just looks like pathetic. So I'm not trying to make excuses for him because he deserves it. But,
yes. Well, the way I would describe it, and I can't remember if I've mentioned this on the Bugle before, but he's like a golfer who's got a really tricky shot, 250 yards into the green, crosswind, down a slope. There's a little water feature in front of the green. There's trees in the way. It's sort of raining a bit, and like I said, tricky crosswind. And he goes up to his ball, gets a sledgehammer out of his golf bag, and smacks the ball over and over again into the turf, shouting, "Get in the hole!" And it was a really difficult shot, but I don't think he's played it as well as he could have done.
I think there was a crocodile coming up the fairway. I think there was a sniper in one of the trees.
That would make golf a hell of a lot of better spectator sport. That and being able to...
Peter Alice. Oh, he would have loved that. Oh, dear, dear, dear. There he goes. He's on the floor. Oh, dear. That's him. Here come the paramedics. I think the sniper's got him. Dear old fellow, dear old fellow. Repeat action, handgun. Oh, poor old soul. Find it hard to get in from there, from the operating theatre.
I'd like that. And also introducing charge downs like you get in rugby when you're taking a kick. And as soon as you start your backswing, your opponent's allowed to charge you, try and block that. I mean, it would be great television. Anyway, we digress. the challenge for Labour, even with these low expectations, is whether they can hotwire the sleeping rhinoceros that is the British economy. It's going to be a tough job. There is essentially no money to do anything, which fits pretty well with Labour's manifesto of not doing a great deal. So I guess they've done the sums at least.